Namaste, friends, and welcome to this episode of Amazing Vedas with Dr. Parikshit Singh. Thank you, Dr. Singh, for joining us. As you know, we've now been looking at the bad guys, so to speak, in the Vedas. Who are they? And in the last episode, you already told us that they are the hoarders, they are the people who don't share and who try to grab and dominate, what is not theirs and so forth. We looked at Vala. We looked at the Panis a bit. But today I want you to tell us a little bit about Vritra. Who is this character? And what is this big fight between him and Indra? And please, do. Maybe we can start with that tweet of yours on X. I thought that was excellent. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
If it's on X, it has to be excellent.
Certainly, it has to be short and pithy. And I hope,
Pithy.
even if it's X, I hope Gen Z is listening because your next book is for them. So,
Yes.
really, X, Y, Z, I hope everybody's on board with the Amazing Vedas. Over to you, Dr. Singh.
The first mention of Vritra in the Veda occurs in Rig Veda 1.4.8, second pada. Ghano Vritranam abhavaha. Vritra is the obstructor of understanding at the higher levels of our intelligence. Indra destroys him with his thunderbolt. Here, Ghanaha is not a cloud, but destroyer. But how appropriate to use this for Indra. This is a beautiful Shlesha Alankara. Ghana also means a cloud. Vritra is the chief Asura according to Sayana. The fable of Indra destroying the Asura with the Vajra or thunderbolt is a powerful theme which recurs throughout in Vedic traditions with different names and forms, and later even in world history. The Vajra is created out of the great sacrifice of Rishi Dadhichi with his selfless and pure love, which is one of the most inspiring stories in the Veda.
I think the story is so moving when I first came across it that perhaps you can, tell us a little more. And in fact, I request you to read the other, tweet on X where you talk about how rishis are increasing the strength of Indra. You see, because it's not a one-way street. Viewers, when it comes to the Vedic world, the gods and the Devas, not the gods in the modern sense, but the Devas and the Rishis and so the human beings, all these different gradations of beings who have different levels of consciousness, Rishis, Munis, and heroes, they all help each other. The forces of good, work together. Am I right?
Yes.
So
you want me to read that too? Or?
Yes, sir, please.
Later. Okay. So in the Rig Veda 1.4.9, the Rishi says something very curious. He tells Indra that he's making Indra more powerful or enriched. And the pada is Vaje Eshu, Vajinam Vajaya Amaha. Vaja means either riches, opulence, or strength. How can the Rishi increase Indra in strength and riches? The Rishi is describing the appearance or manifestation of Indra within him. This seems to echo the later practices of Nyasa, where various deities are placed in parts of the body. The power and intelligence of Indra grows within the subtle body of the Rishi in a steady identification with Indra's cosmic existence.
Yeah, so, if you can also tell us the story of the Rishi Dadhichi, who gave his bones, as it were, to create this Vajra, as you said. Vajra, we normally think of Vajra as the thunderbolt, that lightning, which is in some ways, so powerful as a weapon. Even today, you can see trees which have been blighted by the occasional thunderbolt, how powerful it is. And to imagine that this extremely high voltage, if you want to call it electric shock, had something to do with human beings. So maybe we can go into that story if you don't mind. That would be very
And,
useful.
as we see with all Vedic stories, it is uh, a narrative on at one level, and then it is very deeply symbolic on another. So the word dadhi means curd, and the root is curd. The dhi is that which holds. Dhi is also the mind, the higher mind, the higher thought, dhi, from which come words like buddhi, samadhi, all those. Dhiyo yo na prachodaya. So the dhi is actually a symbol. If we remember the symbol of go or cow, which is the higher knowledge, higher light coming. But Gau also means a cow, but also means a ray of light. And the ray of light as the double or triple universe that is unveiled by the Veda with three meanings. So the ray of light concretizes in the mind, in the dhi, and it becomes solidified, it becomes established. So then the terms that come out of that is ghee, ghritam, which is the mind that is luminous. So out of the, let's see how beautiful the ecosystem of symbols goes. The ray of light becomes a luminous mind, and it's called ghritam, ghee, the butter that comes from the cow. And what do we offer to the in the yajna? We offer our mind. Namo bharanta emasi. So we offer our mind, our consciousness with the ghritam, which is the luminous state of the mind, shining state, the distilled state and refined state. We offer to the holy fire or the sacred agni. And so that's the second layer of the symbol. And the third order is where the ghritam is related to dadhi, which is a thickening or a concretization of that light, and it's represented as dadhi. So dadhi, Kravan, giving his bones. He's holding that light to his very core. His whole skeleton, his whole marrow, everything is replaced by that light, and he's living that. So he must have been a great rishi with a great vision and realization. And when the devas or the beings of the cosmic powers realize that on a higher level of some universal plane there was a blockage, and what do they need for it? They need something concrete. They need something so strong, where the light is so strong, concretized. And so they are told that the only person who has that is Dadhichi. His bones can give the power to destroy this obstruction to the higher intelligence. And so Dadhichi realizes that. They go to Dadhichi. He does not argue, he does not remonstrate. He is happy. He says, yes, for the universe, I will give my body and use my body for this universal work. And so he sits in meditation and he gives up his body. He gives his body to Indra. And they, of course, take the bones and take it to their other, the Devas, the architect, and I forget his name right now, who out of the bones,
Twux 3, I think.
Tvashtra?
Yeah.
Was it Tvashtra?
Yes.
You could be right. That could be the fashioner. Tvashtra is one who fashions. And out of those bones is created that luminous Vajra. Now, Vajra means a diamond. Vajra also, it has the hardness, the purity of the diamond. And with that Vajra, then of course Indra drinks on Soma, which is the finest single malt available. No, Soma is the bliss of existence. He imbibes it, and that gives him the power to take on the obstruction, the Vajra, who is the negative. It's a python. Vritra is often described as a python who blocks that mountain, the Meru, and the flow of waters, flow of knowledge coming down. and then he destroys Vritra, and then opens up the pathway of those waters to flow down, and they come down in the consciousness. And again, it's a very symbolic representation, the higher intelligence coming down to our Mrityulok, to our world, and seeping our brains and enlightening it, so to speak. So it's a very powerful symbol, it's a powerful fable. It's the story of a man who must have done something unique for a global awareness, upliftment of our awareness, helping the universal mind, as it were. And this is how his great offering to humanity is captured in the symbolic term. But if we just take it, even if we took it just as a story that there were this man whose bones were taken to kill a very bad being, it's a beautiful story, and we learn a lot from it.
But the sacrifice of Dadhichi is one of the, most moving stories in the Vedas. And the Vedas are full of these sacrifices.
Yes,
And again, sacrifice to make sacred. And, Tvashtra is later called Vishwakarma as well. And
yes,
among the Greeks, there's the story of Vulcan. But of course, then Vulcan is supposed to be the husband of Aphrodite, and there's a story of adultery and so forth. It's in the paintings. But so you see, the point is that these stories get sort of degraded, and I don't want to use degraded, but in the Puranic and later texts, they lose their original symbolic significance and get, much more anthropomorphic and humanized in a way that is not very elevating, in fact. And that is why Indra himself declines later in the Buddhist and other stories. By the time of the Mahabharata, Indra is seen as a jealous deity, afraid that his throne will be challenged by a usurper. And today, I guess there is a popular serial, I think on Netflix, which talks about this from the Greek side, where these gods are in Olympus, and Zeus is somebody who's very jealous of challengers and is intriguing so that they don't topple him. But going back to the original story in the Rig Veda, I find it so fascinating that somehow the bones are connected with the highest luminosity of the mind as well, you see, because the bone is the densest part of the human skeleton. And again, in matter, I guess the diamond, adamantine, as Milton would call it, it's carbon after all. We are also carbon and not silicon, please. And that carbon is deep down, it's got pressurized and takes millions of years to turn into diamond. So tapasya is like that. Again, Agni, with that fire of ascesis, the bones themselves become as hard as diamond, so to speak, again. But somehow this interconnection between the human world and the supernatural world, the world of the gods, I think is very important when we try to understand our own lives today, which are in many ways devoid of wonder, And, I guess it was called, this re enchanting the world. This is what people talked about, especially at the turn of the 20th century, that modernity is born out of a disenchantment, you see, and partly because of science, because of capitalism, materialism, etc., etc. And we arrive at a deep pessimism, about the future of our race, of our planet. And I think maybe it's a good segue to talk about some of these ideas about good and evil, what the Vedas have to say about these topics. But over to you, Dr. Singh, for some concluding remarks on Vritra and the so called Vritra equivalents today or later on as archetypes of evil.
so you see how evil and ignorance and darkness and lack of self, these are coterminous, they are almost equal. And here Vritra is evil. Why? because he blocks the flow of waters, because he blocks the flow of knowledge and self-realization on an individual level and on a universal level. That which blocks light, the rhythm, the flow, the natural order of things on which the cosmos was created, which holds the cosmos together, that which obstructs it is a negative force. That which enhances it, approves of it, pushes it, increases it, is sustained by it and sustains it, if that were possible, then that is good. So, su is good, sva is self. And these terms often go together, but su is also the highest refinement, from which comes the word soma. And these are very interesting, how the sound became so many things, but they are related to each other. And so is it related to a higher light, which is the world of swara, which is the world of surya. Surya is the highest physical manifestation or a conceptual manifestation of the truth, sat, existence, or that which sustains the universe, the Pushana, the one who sustains it, or the one Savitur, who impels us, who makes these forms and keeps us going. So all these equivalents we will find, and Vritra on an individual scale, if we are trying to grow a higher understanding, when it's blocked, we are not learning something, some insight is missing, that is Vritra. And on a universal scale, humanity itself, something is blocking the growth, the upward movement of humanity, that blockage is Vritra. And so Indra, we aspire to Indra, we invoke the higher light, we sacrifice, we concentrate, we become purified, so that even our bones are as purified as those of as diamond. Diamond is the purest material in a symbolic way, pure, no flaws left. It is so much intensely put through fire that it has become pure. And so that is the purity we have to subject ourselves to through the tapasya, the fire, and then we can reverse, in a reverse way, this body itself opens the blockage of the mind. Very beautiful ancient symbol that is so educational even now.
Very well put. Thank you, Dr. Singh. So, viewers, if you like what we are doing, please share this content, tell others about us, support this channel, and look out for the tweets, Amazing Vedas on X, and do join us in our next episode.